Place of Ronald Perry. First item on the agenda is application number 14-44 of John Evans, agent for E and A/1 and G Simsbury Commons LP owner for a special exception pursuant to Article 10, Sections C.3I of the Town of Simsbury zoning regulations for an additional wall sign for the zoo on the property located at 530 Bushy Hill Road, Assessors Map B 520, Block 508, Lot 001-B, Zone B-3. Welcome.
It's actually not this applicant, Mr. Chairman. Is Mr. Evans here? Anybody for this application here?
Second. The applicant is not here.
You want to go to the next item, Mr. Chairman, and maybe this applicant will show up before you finish? Is that right?
Item 4B, application number 14-48 of John M. McCarthy, agent, Chestnut Hill Associates of Simsbury LLC, owner, of a site plan amendment for the Ensign House at Chestnut Hill, consisting of 35 living units on the property located at 690 Hop Meadow Street, Assessors Map G11, Block 132, Lot 053, Zones SC-1 and SC-2. Welcome.
Since the podium is busy, I'm working. I don't know if you can record me or not. I'm Jackson Eno, 119 West Ledge Road. My family and the McCarthy brothers, John McCarthy, are partners in 690 Hop Meadow Street, the Ensign House, as we like to call it. I'm going to introduce our architects tonight, but I wanted to give you a little overview of why we purchased this historic site and to lay a little of the groundwork for the time that's gone into making this what I think you'll see is a wonderful proposal. I had the fortunate opportunity of growing up in Simsbury, but I've watched our historic downtown go from a residential street to a commercial one all in my lifetime. I've watched with great agony as many of the majestic old homes disappeared to make room for this commercial development. When the Ensign House came up for sale, I heard that it might even become a commercial drugstore. So I couldn't let that happen. Just a little bit, something that makes this property a little bit more unique to me. 104 years ago, my father, Ralph Eno, was born in Simsbury. He was named for his uncle, Ralph Ensign, and Ralph Ensign's son, Joseph Ralph Ensign, built the Ensign House. And because he didn't have any sons, he took my father as his godson, and he treated him as his son. I've had very foggy memories of remembering that as a house, because I was quite young when the Ensigns all passed away. But I have a less foggy memory of attending Sunday school services in there, and even a less foggy memory of remembering it when they added the parish house, the property to the annex to the building. Even some of my children were christened in that chapel that was there. But today we're here because what do we do with this beloved Ensign House property? We believe that one of the most important aspects of the most recent review of our downtown is a lack of housing in the center. We have studied many possibilities for the use of the Ensign House, and you've seen a few of them as we've come before you in a preliminary way. But it keeps coming back to residential. And I think that downtown residential living is extraordinarily important to revitalizing or keeping the downtown going as we all get older and are looking for places to live that aren't big four-bedroom homes. It's something that's really needed in the downtown, and I think that residential use for the Ensign House will keep it preserved for the next 100 years. What we're proposing to do tonight is going to do that, and I am very pleased to introduce to you our architect, Bill Krosky, who has put together this plan for you, your review tonight.
Excuse me just a minute.
Yes.
Would you gentlemen like to move up to the end here so you can see that better?
Is anybody in the house a PowerPoint expert? For some reason, it's not showing as it's intended.
The chair there, Paul. Yeah.
Scroll through it. Thanks. Good evening, everybody. I'm Bill Krosky from Krosky Architects, and we're here to present the, as Mr. Eno mentioned earlier, presenting the proposed project for redevelopment of the Ensign House. So this is the existing A2 survey. A little hard to read, so we're going to move on to the next shot, but we have it here for reference. Bear with me here. This is the colored version of the A2 survey, and you can see the primary structure is shown here in brown in the center of the site, and there's a remote teller unit from its previous use as a bank. The original house, built in 1909, is located on the lower portion of that footprint, and then there's a 1960s addition to the south, which is south being toward the top of the page. Large parking lot in the rear to the east. Two curb cuts, one here off of Drake Hill near the intersection with Hop Meadow, and then a second, more primary cut to the east of that. Okay, this is our proposed site plan. And again, you can see the original house shown here with the white footprint. So we'll be demolishing the addition that's to the south of that and maintaining the original 1909 house. We're going to convert that into 7 apartments. And we'll be also taking out that raised entry plaza to the southeast of the building when we take down the addition. We will then be building 2 new buildings, one at the south property line and one along the east property line, that will have 14 units in each building. They're 2.5 stories high. And then we'll be raising the center of the site here to almost flat. There'll be a slight slope toward the new building, so they'll actually sit a little lower than the house. It will keep the existing primary curb cut and do away with the smaller curb cut that's closer to the intersection, but keep the parking, the entry drive up to about this point. And then our grade will stay relatively flat through here and provide visitor parking and additional parking in front of the 2 new buildings. We'll also have a new 1-story, 7-bay garage that will provide covered parking for the apartments that are in the original building. There'll be a trash collection space at the end of that. And then we'll have the front entrances of the new units facing the visitor parking area. We'll have a second drive to the east, right up against the east property line that will come in off Drake Hill Road and provide access to parking underneath this building. So we'll have 15 garage spaces at the lower level of that new building. And then 2 carports here, this one for 8 spaces and this for 5 spaces, so we have covered parking there. And then we'll have an entrance to the basement level of this building for two more additional parking spaces. And a second trash enclosure location over in the southeast corner. So we'll also be saving the trees, the existing trees that are shown here in the darker green represent the existing trees. We'll be supplementing in some new trees and doing some new landscaping to replace the overgrown bushes that are in front of the building. We'll keep the existing brownstone wall that is in this location and put some new plantings in front of it. So our new parking will end before it gets to that wall. That wall will act like a screen to the parking lot. And then we will have some landscaping against the building, against the patios that I'll show you in a minute, and around the perimeter of the building. We hope to save these 2 trees they're 2 existing trees there now, but we're thinking those may not make it through construction, so we're showing those 2 being new trees to replace the 2 that we're going to lose. So I have the detailed plans of the existing house. I'll just go through them briefly. This is the lowest level, and there's a direct entrance to that level at this point on the north east corner of the building. There'll be a 2-bedroom unit at this level in the finished basement or finished lower level of this area, and then it has access to a new terrace through door off the main living space. So open living, dining, kitchen area, a bedroom here and a bedroom here with the curved bay, and a den in that area. On the main level, 2 units. This being the front of the house, this will maintain the original front entrance into this first unit, which has a bedroom to the left as you come in. Dining room is the paneled room that is currently existing. Then the living room, library space, which is the current space with the paneling and fireplace, will remain the living space for that unit. And then a bedroom here with the curved windows, bathroom, washer dryer area, fireplace in the bedroom. And then we're going to be adding back the what was probably once the sunroom space on that corner of the building. Actually, the roof, you can still tell where the roof is in the connection to the portion of the building that we're demolishing, the portion of the addition that we're demolishing. So we're going to build that back. That sunroom will be a kitchen with a breakfast area as part of it, and then that'll have access to a patio here behind the curved brownstone wall. It'll also have ramped access to the 7-unit garage or 7-bay garage building, and then the back unit has a patio out back here, bedroom, open living like down on the lower level. A couple of bathrooms and another bedroom here. It has its own private entry under the covered porch area that's there right now. Going up to the next floor, we'll be retaining the main stairwell, and our entrance for the upper floor units will be through this side entrance. That's really a beautiful stairwell for those of you who are familiar with it. And we'll have a unit on the front of the building that's a 2-bedroom unit, bedroom with the curved wall and bedroom up in this front corner, kitchen area here and large dining living space here. And this has a deck out on top of the new sunroom. We also are going to be adding a dumb waiter in the middle of the plan, and that's so that people can bring groceries, suitcases, whatever, easily up to the upper levels when they come in on the ground level. So the rear unit has a bedroom in each corner and open living dining room space in the middle and a bathroom for each bedroom. And the top floor, built under the roof slope, will also have 2 units. These are 1-bedroom units, so you come up the main stair and into this front unit. It's got a bedroom in the front corner, open living, dining, kitchen area in this space, bathroom here in the center of the plan. And then the back unit, kitchen, eat-in kitchen area with living room with a fireplace, and then bedroom with a fireplace as well, and bathroom right here. So there'll be some unusual and very, very nice units inside the house. The exterior will be restoring to its original appearance, doing some roof repairs, painting of the woodwork, and restoration, if necessary, to the brownstone. We'll also be using state and federal historic tax credits. So we'll be going through the State Historic Preservation Office review as well as the National Park Service's review of our restoration to make sure that we get their approval. It's a rather rigorous process, but it ensures that we'll be doing the renovation the right way. So this is the new sunroom that you see to the south. That will be the kitchen for the first floor unit, and then there's a little deck space above that, accessed from the second floor unit. A side view to the rear, or to the east, of the addition over here, that sunroom. And then this is the Drake Hill side of the house to the north. Not really anything is going to be changing on this view. And then the new units. This shows in particular the east building, which will have the driveway. This is the lower level plan. So the driveway will come in from that northeast drive off Drake Hill. There'll be 15 garage bays, and then each tenant will have a storage space as part of that, and then they can access their unit after they park their car by going up through the stairs, the common stairs in the center of the building, to a flat on either side of that common stair, a flat unit that's a 2-bedroom unit. It's kind of hard to read at this scale, but we've got a bedroom here, 2 bathrooms, another bedroom on the other corner, then living room, kitchen, dining area. This side has a patio facing the visitor parking, and then we have a sunroom, which is a glassed-in 3-season space, which has a view of the mountain to the east. Then going upstairs from there to the next floor. We split the plan in 2, and we have a townhouse at each of the 4 corners that are serviced off that common stairwell. So they're identical in terms of their layout. You come in from that center stair, common stair, in the doorway here. Dining space, kitchen, living room, deck outside off the living room, and then a half bath and a bedroom with a bay window, walk-in closet, and bathroom for that bedroom. And you go upstairs to the next floor, and master bedroom with a sunroom off of that, and closets and the bathroom. So one of the ideas behind this design is that we're able to just provide one means of egress for each of the units because we have no more than 4 units per floor that are serviced off that stairwell and a maximum travel distance of 50 feet from the most remote point to get into the stairwell, and we have a sprinkled building. So we're able to have a relatively efficient layout and use the space towards the units instead of having to overbuild the stairways. These are the exterior elevations. This is the lower level, the driveway side with the individual garages. And then you can see the sunrooms off the living room on the upper 2 units. This is the bedroom, sunroom on the 3rd floor. We've modified the design in response to comments that we received earlier a few months back when we made our informal presentation. There was a concern about the height and a recommendation to reduce the units, which we did do, and bring the building height down and get some of the space under the roof slope to give it more of a 2.5-story appearance. So if you look at the side of the building that faces the existing house, you can see that we dropped this end of the building down to 2 stories. And we brought the roof down, and so that our master bedrooms are in the roof structure, and dormers provide the windows for those rooms. So it's really a 2.5-story look. The lower level is brownstone or brownstone color material, masonry material, and then the siding will be hardy plank with hardy trim. On the 2nd floor, and then architectural shingles for the roof, and wood Pella or Marvin double-hung windows throughout the new construction. This is the side view showing the 2 ends. This side, you can see we have about a 10-foot drop from the high side of the building to the low side. And this is the other elevation that faces into the south corner, southeast corner. Oh, this is too bad. So, well, I'm not sure why these images aren't at a larger scale, but here we go. So we built a computer model of this, and please keep in mind that this is really kind of an abstract model, even though it shows color. But the idea is really, this particular view is to give you an understanding of the relationship of the buildings, the existing building to the new buildings, and it's really not meant to be realistic. But it's a good reference for being able to talk about or answer questions if you have them as we go through this. So the next image is what it will look like, what the site will look like from the intersection of West Street and Hop Meadow. And this is what it looks like now with the leaves out, and you can see a little bit of the existing house right here in the corner, or in the center, but really there's a lot of vegetation here which will be maintained and undisturbed as part of our construction project, and that'll really screen the new buildings from this vantage point. And as we move up Hop Meadow, this is an artist rendering of what it would look like standing at the church and looking at the house, with the new construction behind it, the new sunroom, and the new building on the south side. And so the larger trees that you see here are all existing trees. We've shown that some of the scruffy bushes have been cleaned out from underneath. This is a hedge planting, and the brownstone wall will be here screening the parking area. But this is an artist's view because it's not totally realistic because there is this large tree, but there's also another large tree here, which is the next view. But I wanted you to see what the site would look like conceptually. So this is what it will actually look like. So now as we move further north on Hop Meadow, this is at the intersection of Drake Hill and Hop Meadow, and this is the existing house, and this driveway will go away, as I mentioned earlier, as will these signs, but this gives you an idea of what the new building will look like in the background, the south building that is set against the south property line. This is a rendering, an artist rendering of what the north elevations look like as you're looking south across Drake Hill. And this would be our new curb cut to our lower, to the parking that is in the garages. This is obviously our new building. And then the garage that has seven stalls in it for the house, and then the existing house. So our roofs will be, as I mentioned, will be asphalt shingle, architectural grade, red to match the house. The siding is hardy plank artisan siding, which doesn't have corner boards. The clapboards fit together on the bevel. We'll be using hardy trim for the fascia and the accent here and the trim around the windows. And then brownstone like material, which I can go into more detail if you're interested on that, as to what that is. And then these are the sunrooms, sunroom bays, the decks for the townhouse units, and the garage doors at the lower level. Now, again, this is an artist view because if we put the real trees in, it looks like this. So it's not very helpful explaining the architecture, but so we had one of the comments we had from staff was that we should consider making the side of the new building, adding an entrance there, making it look like a facade that faced the street. So we are able to rework this ground floor unit by moving some rooms around and getting an entrance here at the north side that would then face Drake Hill. And that's kind of what it would look like. This is a straight-on elevation, which doesn't really do a lot to explain the architecture because there is a lot of vegetation, there are a lot of trees, but this is a straight-on view if you were standing in the parking lot of Drake Hill Mall. So the mansion is here, the driveway here. These are the existing trees, all laid out according to what's there now. You can see a little bit of the new building in the background and a little bit of the new building behind those trees. And these are just some model shots as you move around through the model, gives you an idea of what the buildings look like, closer view. Without all the landscaping blocking. And that's the end of the presentation. I'm ready for questions. Stay right.
You say you had samples of siding colors and material?
I have samples of the material that we want to use for the lower level, which is the brownstone. Pass this around. This This is the, it's actually a colored concrete. This is the pattern. The next tab is this is the color.
The slope of the land behind the, I guess that would be the east building?
The east.
Is that just flat? Is there a big drop off there?
There's an old retaining wall, brownstone retaining wall, and then there's a drop off.
Retaining wall will be kept?
Retaining wall to be kept. May need some repair, but, mhm. Well, yes, it depends on the final grades and for along that side of the site relative to the adjacent property.
So there is a big drop off after those garages? Down towards the river?
There's a railroad track down there, so
Okay.
it does drop off.
You're not able to take the retaining wall down, are you?
We hadn't worked out that detail on the civil drawings yet to see how the grades tie into the wall. Ideally, we'd like to keep it, but parts of it are leaning over right now.
Is this the same material they're using down in Avon on that high rise that's going up?
I'm not sure what
They
they're
just-
using down there.
They just started to side that building with the permastone or whatever.
Mhm.
The technical name for this is. It matches the existing thing.
Well, while we're talking about materials, can I ask about, so you've said the color of the shingles would be red to
Correct.
sort of match as closely as possible the roof.
Right.
And you spoke about hardy plank and hardy siding. What about the other architectural details that you have, the railing units, the bump outs for the solarium, the sunrooms?
Right.
You know, those areas where you've got panelized look.
Right, that'll be a composite material. I mean, the hardy trim is going to be, is a composite material, and then panel will be MDF or something like that, which is a composite.
So all painted surfaces?
Correct.
Once you're done. And are the colors of the siding fairly close to what you're proposing? I mean, it almost looks like it's got a pink hue for the siding.
No, it's more of a coffee color. We haven't picked a paint color yet, but the idea is that it would be a warm, lighter version. It's not, it's not stone. We don't want to duplicate the stone color. We want to pick something complementary and lighter. but-
Same family of color, just not the
Yes.
same color.
Right.
And my other question is, I notice on this page that is proposed, it shows fairly steep contours, because, I mean, you do have to change elevation about 10 feet from the west side of
Yep.
one building to the lower side where the retaining wall is.
Right.
So there's fairly steep grade, and I think that's where is that existing? Is that the
It's existing.
grade?
Mhm.
So if you were to do the entrance that was proposed by staff,
Right.
where you're actually having a porch come out and have stairs on that really steep grade, how are you,
You're talking about right in this
Right,
area.
right
Here.
there, how are you gonna make that transition?
So, well, that request was a recent comment, and so not enough time to get it into the model, the design of it into the model, and we've had some conversations with the civil engineer about those grades and how we would work the walkway out in that location, whether we can actually make it work. It's probably going to have some steps as it comes towards the sidewalk, but it hasn't been engineered yet.
Bill, all the units on that level are accessible.
All the units
Ground
on,
floor.
all the units on the ground floor of both of these buildings and the existing building are accessible.
So even if we change the entrance, we would still have an accessible entrance from the stairway?
Right. So it still has its entrance through this location where this little walkway is into that common stair. And if you go by the stair to toward the rear, it gives you an entrance right into the living room of that unit.
So it'd almost be more aesthetic than.
Yes.
Um,
So let's go to that.
Mr. Eno's comments spoke to the desire to get residences, residential property back in downtown, and I think we've all discussed that, and it's a good purpose. My question related to that is, where's the pedestrian connection to Hot Meadow going north?
Okay. Okay, so, well, we have a connection, well, we had a connection here to the sidewalk, then to the crosswalk, and then to the north. We've talked about bringing a connection across at this point, but we don't have our traffic information yet in terms of whether that's a safe thing to do, and whether we should just stick with the crosswalk that's up at the corner. But we will have this connected to the sidewalk.
Back to the east side and then drop off. Coming up Drake Hill Road from the bridge, what will you see? Because if you're up on a hill, it looks like you're going to be a rather tall, massive building there.
Well, let's see.
He showed it with the trees.
With and without the trees.
Not on this side.
Right, let's go find that rendering.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Yeah,
about
these two. See if we can zoom in on this.
Right there where the house that the town is buying or something.
So
Yep.
this is the artist view. You won't really see it this way, but we drew it this way so that we could explain it and you can understand how the buildings are related. But with the trees that are there, that's what it's going to look like. There'll be a little gap near the entrance right here, obviously, because there's the curb cut and you have to be able to, there won't be any trees
Yep.
blocking the driveway, but you'll see this side will all be screened as you come up Drake Hill.
But if you move to the left, as you're coming up Drake Hill, what do you see?
There's an existing tree line there that's about where the, we've got to go back to this plan, about where the retaining wall is. Whoops. Actually,
Bill, will it show up on the aerial? The very first slide?
yeah, I can try that too, but you can see that on this, there's existing tree line along this line.
And those trees will all remain?
Yes, if we can keep them.
And
Without disturbing
the
the
walls on the left side of that?
Well, those trees will be impacted by the condition of the wall and you have to rebuild it or whatever you have to do to it.
Right. It depends on where the roots are for those trees. Let me just go to the survey, see if that shows. Well, we can go to, we'll look at the aerial photograph in a minute.
Tony, if I may, Rich Career, I'm a commercial broker in Simsbury, been doing it for 24 years down here. That lot next to it is state of Connecticut land there, and it's abandoned, it's in Bigfoot land, that's all treed in there. So they won't be touching that, so that'll stay the same. Someday in the future, maybe the town of Simsbury will do something with that, but not, it's, so the trees that you're talking about to the east, it's a
Yeah.
vacant lot with a lot of trees there.
I believe the trees are on the low side of that wall.
Right.
And you can see the wall right here.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, we don't have contours on the other side of it, so I can't answer the question about what the drop-off is. We're going, yeah, we can go to the aerial, we'll see if that shows us anything.
So, worst case, if the existing wall is in disrepair and cannot be saved, but a wall is needed, which I think we agree is true, then you would have to take down all the trees to the property line and put some kind of a wall there.
It's interesting there where this property meets a
railroad track property. There's some areas where the grades are almost level, and there's some where it's like a differential of 4 feet.
So it varies along there. We just haven't worked out the engineering yet to know exactly what we're gonna do there. Ideally, we'd like to keep the wall, because it's expensive to take down. But
So this shows you the trees.
we're not sure yet, yeah.
You can't really tell where they are in relation to the property.
They're off the property line.
They're on the state property, okay. So what I want to do also is look at the survey line. See if I can tell you the existing grade relative to what it will be. If I can get in there and read it. So our new, will be at 178 on the low side. So right now, we're at this is 175 here, so we're actually going to be up a little bit. Is that 180? So we're going to be right about at the top of that wall with our paving. So we're going to hopefully leave that wall in place.
My concern is as you're coming west down Drake Hill Mall, and you're sitting above the retaining wall with a 3-story, 2.5-story building, as you're coming west, you're seeing a very tall building.
Yeah, I think if you get an opportunity to go by there during the day.
Yeah.
It is so well treed coming up
see
that way. You almost have to stop and then look to your left and where that curb cut is to see the buildings. But if you're behind Fitzgerald's and you're in that public parking area, that's the elevation you will see the building there.
But that end of the building.
But not on the drive.
That end of the building is the first unit is just 2-story. Am I seeing that correct?
That's right.
So the first
yeah,
that end is
okay,
just 2-story.
Yes.
You know what I'm going to ask about, don't you?
No?
I asked the first time because I didn't like it, and I'm going to ask you again. It looks like you couldn't come up with a different solution for that 7-car garage building that's right in the middle of the entire property. The entire composition seems to, go around that 7-car garage building, and now you also have a garbage area right next to it.
Well, it does a few things. I mean, it does, not only does it provide convenient covered parking for the people that live in the existing building, but it also screens the patio for this first floor rear unit that's right in the back portion of the mansion. There's a patio here and with some landscaping around it, and it creates a buffer to the parking area for them. So, the alternative is not to have the covered parking there. We need to have some kind of trash solution for the site that's other than just this one down in the lower corner. So we thought this was the best solution given all those factors.
So we propose to screen that.
Oh yeah, it's screened. There's some landscaping there which you probably can't see too well. Let's see if I can. Sorry.
What will the carports look like? With a gable, what type of roof? I mean, you don't show them in here.
It'll be a roof that's just like this 7-car garage.
Okay.
And how much of a port and how much of a cover on the side walls, we're not quite sure yet. We may be, the elevation of that is, again, we're at 178 in this area, and we're at 188 up in this area. So this roof, this edge of the roof is almost at grade level, maybe a foot or two above to the eave. So this may need a little more screening than these couple of trees that we have shown right here. But to get back to the earlier question, we do have a little bit of landscaping here. We do have an enclosure. So.
I think you addressed the color of the new buildings, and I didn't quite hear everything. I know renderings are sometimes difficult to interpret, but it seems to me there's an awful lot of white. And it needs, I think, to be softened in some fashion.
The intention was not for the trim to be white, it was to be off-white. So it's not intended to be white, but I guess it doesn't show up very well here. So let's see here.
So was your question about that garage, that it had to be there at all, or just the way it looked?
I don't know, personally, I just don't like it there. I mean, I'm thinking of he said it's a screening for a patio, and who would like to stay on that patio and look at the back of a garage? What kind of screen is that?
So the patio area fence, Bill, we fence that area.
We've got it screened with landscaping, but not fenced.
I mean,
So-
I'm not saying it's easy, to find a different solution. It's extremely hard. And everybody
Well-
wants to have a covered garage,
I think our challenge is we can't
It's a
build
big
to
challenge.
the west because of the green space, and we can't build to the north because of that setback.
Yeah. It
So
is.
It's either,
Yeah.
we've wrestled with it.
Compared to what it looks like now, we've improved the view from one more side. Because if you sat out in the back right now and you looked at it, there's two sides that are beautiful and two sides that aren't. Now there's gonna be three sides that are beautiful, and one side that's practical.
I'm wondering if the garage would look better if it had the same stone material. I mean, my biggest objection to it is that it looks so plain. And if it had stone material, it would seem like it belonged to the main building.
At least on the street side.
I mean, I'd love to see all the three sides other than the door side. It would look like it was part of the original building since it's servicing the original building.
That's a good idea.
And it would tie that lower level in with all the other lower levels, which all have stone. It's the only ground level that doesn't.
Any more questions?
Maybe if we lose that retaining wall, we'll have that matching stone.
Well, given the informal that we had, and some of the concerns that we had at that time, you've addressed, and I think addressed very well. Clearly, there are challenges to this property, and the effort that you've made to maintain the original building, I think, is outstanding. I have virtually no concerns with this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think when we take something, the consideration of having that garage in the same stone or like stone as the main building is a very good one. Because that will, it'll be just like the old parish section of the old building. That's good.
Would you like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that the application number 14-48 of John M. McCarthy, agent, Chestnut Hill Associates of Simsbury LLC, owner for a site plan amendment for an Ensign house at Chestnut Hill consisting of 35 living units on the property located at 690 Hot Meadow Street, Assessors Map G11, Block 132, Lot 053, Zone SC-1 and SC-2, that we would recommend to the zoning commission that the plan basically meets the needs of the design review with one caveat, maybe there's more than one, that the garage, the 7-bay garage behind the existing building be sided so as to match the main building, to look as part of the main building. Is there anything else? That's about it.
I don't think so.
No, that's good. You've done good.
I think, Tony, too, you're also relying on the other representations that were made with regard to the color of the siding, the color of the roofs.
Yep,
those
yes,
things as well
yep.
that were mentioned by the applicant.
Okay.
Do we want to speak at all to the alternate entrance on Drake Hill Road?
I'm sorry.
There was the alternate entrance that staff had suggested. Do we have a feeling about if that's better or worse?
We're still in motion.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
That's aesthetic more than anything else.
Well, it's what we do.
Here a second?
Are you talking about on the east building, the north side there?
Yeah.
that ties it?
I'm not saying I prefer it, I'm just trying
Oh,
to
I
get a
see.
sense if that's part of our motion or not.
Yes, it is part
Staff,
of the motion.
You want to see that added?
Yes. At the discretion of the builder. I mean, it's sort of,
We're talking about
with it or without it, it's fine.
this.
Yep.
I think we're supposed to state our preference.
I think what we said was that you haven't done final design on that yet with regard to grading and so on.
Correct.
The preference would be to include it if possible, but if the grading turns out not to be possible.
That sounds good to
I
me.
think that's,
Right, okay. I'm good with that.
You have to understand.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, second then? I'll second that.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? One opposed?
Thank you.
When's the shovel going in the ground?
At the spring thaw, that's the way it's looking like.
You know, I gotta say that, you know, you brought this, this is the third time you've been here, and we've improved all along, and I think this is, well, finally, 3 times and you made it. Yeah. No amendments.
Okay,
reference come for the application? I suggest that you pass on that application, then, Mr. Chairman, without the applicant here to explain it.
Okay.
we're gonna do the application A?
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, that was a simple one.
I read this already, so whoever's,
Good evening. For the record, my name is Ed Lally. I'm a licensed professional engineer and land surveyor. And I've been working with the architect Craig and the owner James on this project for a while. This is a combined site plan and new building and the restoration of an existing building located at 568 and 570 Hot Meadow Street. The existing building is the Green Tea building. If you've seen it, it sits in a sea of parking and needs some repair. The new proposed building is located in this location. It's on a separate parcel of land. The property will be owned by Chen and Gao Realty LLC and Asian Relish LLC, which are two limited liability corporations owned by husband and wife, who also run the restaurant there and also the Han restaurant in Granby. The proposal is to construct a new 2,450 square foot restaurant with two apartments and to utilize the existing 4,050 square foot restaurant in this location. Green Tea Restaurant will stay. Green Tea Restaurant is presently run by the applicant, though he does not at this point in time own the building. He is purchasing it. He does own this property, and we've been through a number of site plans where we're trying to fit a restaurant and some parking on a parcel of land which is 0.35 acres. It's one of the smallest undeveloped pieces of business property in the town, and one of the smallest pieces of business zone property in the town. And the difficulties in putting a building on that site and having some parking and its own entrance were such that it was decided by the owner of this property to enter into contract to purchase that property and then do a combined site plan. Currently, the entrance to the Green Tea facility is much wider than shown here. The pavement crosses the right-of-way line into the state right-of-way and has for years and years people have been parking there. The pavement goes up to the adjacent property line to the north, and there are areas of pavement on the existing site which bring the coverage currently to 47%, which is over the 40% allowed by your regulations. This parcel is covered by about 97% hard surface. What we've done is we're proposing to narrow the entranceway. We're proposing to introduce an island in the parking lot to give some direction to the traffic and also break up the view from the street. We're moving some of the pavement back out of the right-of-way. In this location, we're moving the pavement away from the property line and introducing landscaping in these areas. Also pulling the pavement back from the east property line, because in some cases, the person who was putting the pavement down just went right across the property line, and we're pulling that pavement out of there. They're currently paving along this side of the building, and that's proposed to be removed. We have a circulation pattern that allows parking in the rear of the building. It allows for commercial vehicles to enter the building and come to the loading area, which is at this building, and also to load through here during off hours. We have a proposed dumpster enclosure that will serve both buildings located in the rear, entirely invisible from Hot Meadow Street. The fascia of the new building and the fascia of the Green Tea will be made to look similar to each other. We've actually reduced the overall hard surface. We're adding a building, and yet we've reduced the overall hard surface on these two properties by about 7 or 8%, and greatly improved what we think is the aesthetics. The driveway that currently exists in here, which is 24 feet wide, is going to be totally removed. There's an existing pole here, and right now people drive into the package store on a diagonal, which is not safe. They leave on a diagonal, which is not safe. And so by eliminating that pavement and putting that telephone pole into the landscape area will increase the safety there. We have exactly the number of parking spaces that are necessary. We are required by your codes, the town codes, to have 47 spaces, and we have 47 spaces. We have handicap parking proposed here at the entrance and here near the entrance. This plan was done before some of the staff comments were to add a pathway from the handicap space here, so the handicapped person didn't have to walk on any of the pavement, but could go on their own pathway to the main entrance to the new restaurant. The area with lines, the reddish lines over the tan patio is an outdoor dining area, which is proposed on this building and a similar fascia on that building. There are cross easements, the drafts of which have been presented to the town, because these two buildings, which are on different properties, will share access, parking, underground utilities, access to the dumpster, traffic patterns for customers, and commercial delivery of goods and other things. And I believe that has been reviewed by staff and found to be acceptable. Upon submission to the town for a site plan approval, I'm sure the town engineer will review that and will modify it as is necessary. We've tried from our end to try to put as much green into this as possible to break up the pavement from the adjacent parking area to the landscape adjacent to the building, and to create as much green space across the front by narrowing this, pulling this back, and eliminating that driveway. And I think Craig's done a pretty good job on the building, and he'll discuss his plans for that. Thank you.
Would you move the thing out a little bit so we can see? Would appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening, Craig Chassie from Associated
Put it
Architects.
over there. What about?
Want me to put it on that side so everyone
Well,
can see?
no, I mean, the people in the audience can't see it. It's okay, Brian.
Okay, I'm sure most of you are familiar. This is the existing green tea building. It's been there for years. It's pretty much in pretty bad shape if you look at the building. The roof is in need of repair. What we're proposing to do is to update the building by removing the roof that runs across the front that covers the walkway right now, adding in a new element which announces the entrance and adds some sort of symmetry to the front entrance location. This will be created with a brownstone material around the front here. We're going to have a ephes band on the top that will give us just a color transition at the top of the building and a little shadow line with a little overhang. We're proposing to, on the flanking sides of the main entrance, remove that walkway entirely and provide pergolas that cover it, so that we'll have a covered pergola on each side, which will create an interesting shadow pattern over the walkway, and also provide shading if they choose to put seating on the exterior of the building in this location. We're coming across with the same effect on the opposite end of the building, just to unify the design. Our proposed materials right now are, this is going to be a brownstone or simulated brownstone. Right now I've brought some samples, but I'll show them to you when we're at the end if you have questions. But this is a natural brownstone material that we found that we can get in a thin format that we can apply basically like a simulated stone, and that's what we're proposing at this point. We're going, the siding right now is proposed as vinyl. I think it's going to achieve the look. We don't have any seriously long runs that you're going to see a lot of seams and transitions in. So I think that it's appropriate for the building to bring it up to look with the town right now. Any questions on the green tea facade?
What's on the second floor?
The second floor, these are just windows that are going to be inset with spandrel glazing in it to make it have the appearance of a two-story building, just because the height is overpowering.
Where the mansard is?
Where the mansard is presently. Right now they have these little these little dormers that are up there. In keeping in theme with that, we're doing some larger windows to make it look like a mixed-use building, maybe downtown, 2-story. It's an attic space. It's just gonna be basically, you know, spandrel glass that you can't see through. It's just gonna, but it'll look like windows.
My only, go ahead.
Oh, no.
You know, why brownstone?
I think Simsbury is very, very much brownstone. I mean,
Well, the
No,
buildings down there are brick.
right, well, the building adjacent to it has brownstone.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, if you,
And how about the little restaurant? That's brownstone too?
huh? The new little restaurant?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna tie to this, so I'll show you in a
it's
second.
not brick?
You mean Lenny's or whatever
Yeah.
you call it? He means the one that's there. Lenny's? There's
Lenny's,
the-
what's the
Deli
breakfast
restaurant
place?
Next to the package
Oh,
store?
on the other side of the package store?
Yeah.
That's a-
Benny's,
The
Benny's.
The package store's got brick, but, I mean, I don't think we want to model after this.
My only concern is that brownstone in this town is sort of like a creeping
Right,
virus all over. Everything's got to be brownstone.
sure.
And maybe it doesn't.
That's a good.
That's my only.
Okay. Any other concerns?
What are the sides
The sides, we're just gonna re-side them,
with?
probably vinyl to match what we're doing on the front. We haven't really got into much discussion on the side elevations, we're sort of focusing on the front at this point.
And putting a new roof on it or not?
Yeah, there'll be a new roof on the.
Color? Do you know a color?
It's flat.
Yeah, it's,
Is it a shingled roof or not?
it is a shingled roof.
Oh.
We're gonna do a membrane underneath it. It's relatively low slope, so we're gonna have to membrane it, but what they're looking at is a slate line shingle. They're looking at basically this English gray.
Right, okay.
Okay, anything else on this one?
So excuse me, but we're looking at the existing roof structure above the crown?
This is yes, this is the existing
Yeah,
roof structure up
okay.
here.
So that you're basically,
We're removing the mansard piece, the high slope piece that's across the front and bringing it back flush to the existing face of the building beyond the walkway.
So that's a flat roof behind,
It's not flat, it's about a 4.5, 5 pitch.
more like shed roof.
No, it's actually a hip roof.
It's almost,
It's
almost
almost
flat.
flat. It's almost flat.
so the backside of the facade is open, correct?
The backside
Of the
of the
facade?
facade, this is gonna have a roof on it.
Oh, that,
So this will be a covered entrance. This will all be a roofed area.
yeah.
And then this will be open with a pergola with boards coming out.
Okay, what I'm saying is facade comes up in front of the existing roof structure.
No,
Correct.
it comes up to the existing roof structure.
Okay,
Because the roofs, we're cutting back to it,
yes.
so it'll hit, and that roof will be, this will in theory be a gutter across here.
So it's coming up to basically the bottom of the dormers.
It's coming up here. And this is the roof that we're talking about.
Oh, okay, I see it. All right, yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the new building, as we're presented, this is the side that faces Hot Meadow Street. Again, we were looking at the brownstone for the first story. And then we're gonna have vinyl siding again, pergola along the face that faces our parking lot. The roofing is the same roofing. We're gonna introduce some cedar impression style wood shingles, plastic shingles. And basically, that's the color that we're actually looking at for those.
Okay.
In all the gables. The pergola forms a covered seating area in these two locations in the front. Also, we announce our entrance from the parking lot side with another covered pergola. This pergola will have a flat roof on it so that it provides weather protection when you're coming in and out the door. These will not. These are just going to be simply shade structures. Our doors, our main entrance doors, we're thinking we're going to go with a mahogany with glass. The windows will all just be like a Terratone style residential double hung window. The second floor in this building does contain 2 apartments. The first floor is going to be a restaurant that's complementary to the green tea, but a different style of restaurant. Any questions on this?
That's the siding for,
That's the siding that's in the gables. And the siding that's, the rest of it is a double 5 vinyl siding, is a little bigger profile than customarily is seen for residential houses, but I think the scale of these buildings warrants a little more size.
It's certainly an area that needs improvement, and so this is, no matter what you do, is an improvement.
Well, I like the use of the brownstone, frankly, only because the building across the parking lot to the north, the foundation is brownstone.
with
Am
the
I
side
right?
of
Yeah,
the,
that's
with the
sort
side
of
of
why
the
I-
liquor store is brick, isn't it?
Yeah, but the side that they're actually,
No, I
their parking lot is open
I
to
can
that.
appreciate that.
Am I right, that their parking lot will see
Parking lot
this?
faces the brownstone
And
foundation.
to use
Yes.
another color that might say be a brown or, amber tones or something is sort of just irrelevant to
Humidic
town.
earth tone, it's called.
The earth tone one?
Earth,
Yeah,
humidic earth.
I just
tone.
think at least, 10, 20 years down the line, it says it belongs here rather than that it's just something that was an available product at the time you built it.
Yeah,
so.
well, I think the choice of using a natural product, in my opinion, for this warrants sort of a longer-term solution, that the cultured stone products
Right.
over time, to me, fade and start to look almost, they look fake. They look really great when they go on, and about 10 years later, they get a little patina to them that,
It's like vinyl fences.
Right.
yeah,
like vinyl fence.
or pavers. You see them after a few
And that's
years.
a real stone,
Yes.
yeah.
I think what was attempted here was to tie the two buildings together with the use of material and the pergola. Have them focus here instead of having a building just with its business front on Hot Meadow, and have as much green as possible here while still meeting the parking requirements.
Wasn't there a house that burned down there?
No, that was located,
Yeah, right there.
that was located actually closer to the street than this is.
Is there going to be any signage out by the street?
There's going to be signage here. There'll probably be some sort of signage on the building, of course, with code, some graphic signage. But the entrance to the building is here, and we don't want to put a sign over here and draw people into the other parking lot by mistake. That causes confusion, and the confusion causes accidents. So there is an existing sign here which will be modified to serve both entities.
You don't have a south elevation of the new building, do you?
No, I haven't generated one.
South.
Oh,
I think
south.
south.
Well, there's, you're not going to see it because there's a two-story brick building right here. And except for the material wrapping around the corner.
You can see it. Okay, I was under the impression that when you drive north.
Yeah, there's a building located
This building
right there.
is literally, there's like,
Right next.
yeah, it's like, we're 10 feet off the line, so it's close.
What do you have planned for back there?
The siding?
Are you wrapping?
We're gonna wrap the stone at a low height, like we've done across the parking lot face.
How far down?
We're gonna go around the whole perimeter of the building at this height, except for the side that faces Hot Meadow, which we're going full story with.
Yeah, so you'll see that same
So even if you catch a view of the south,
It's still gonna-
you're still gonna see it.
You're still gonna see it.
You'll see basically this.
Is there a gable on the south side?
Yes, it's basically
Continuation of
the
that?
opposite under this.
Windows?
No windows. It's gotta be rated because
Fire
of its
code.
proximity to the property line, so we didn't accommodate the windows.
Any other questions? This is an informal review. When you come back, we would obviously like landscaping. And if you want to include signage and lighting at that time, that would be accepted.
Okay?
It's certainly an improvement on what's there now.
Are there any, thank you for that comment, are there any directions you might give us of things that you're concerned about, or
In terms of what?
anything? You know, I mean, you said it's certainly an improvement over what's there now, but we want to come back next time and get a home run.
Yeah.
Not just, make it to third base. And so if there's any comments or suggestions you have at this point in time, we'd really appreciate it.
Lighting and signage earlier.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think you've done a really good job with it. I like the new building. I like the way you've managed to save that old building. I guess my only concern would be seeing elevations on the north side and south side of the existing building.
Okay.
See what you're planning to do over there.
Okay.
Right now, it's just a big parking lot in front of the building, that's, almost from Hot Meadow to the, so you reduce that, and you have that island in there, which is gonna help a great deal. Any further reduction would be if you can, it'd be helpful.
Okay.
Get
And
more green.
what we have done is we're going to be asking the Planning and Zoning Commission to allow us to change the material under the parking space for a portion of the parking space to grass, because when you drive up nose to nose, you need every inch of space, because people don't come up and touch each other. They leave a space between their car, and so you need every inch of the 18-foot parking space depth. But when you drive up to grass, the typical thing is to come up and overhang a little bit, and therefore the total parking space need not be paved. We put a Cape Cod curb, so it's a soft curb. It's a little lower, so if you have a sports car, you won't be scraping your nose. But you can pull into the parking space. The landscaping is set back from the edge of the curb a bit, so that we can actually get more green on the property by having not the entire 18 feet being pavement. So, I mean, we've gone to that extent. We will be asking the Planning and Zoning for that approval to try to get as much green into this. But we're at the number of parking spaces. We need 46.9, we have 47. So we really can't.
It's cut more.
We really shaved everything we could. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
See again? No, that's okay.
Got that.
So we're not going to do the signage, Ron?
Nope, you didn't show up.
I'll be honest with you, I think that we learned late this afternoon that the owner of the property needed to get signed approval for the applicant. We're waiting for that to come in, and the applicant did not come, so I'm assuming that he doesn't have it. So rather than have you go through that and waste your time on it, I'd just as soon get that and come to the next meeting if need be. I think the only other thing, Mr. Chairman, is the meeting schedule for 2015.
Right. Have you had a chance to look at the 2015 schedule?
It's on my calendar, so don't change it.
Pardon?
Yeah,
Any problems?
he's in
Well,
flexible.
my only comment would be that last year when we approved the 2014 schedule, it was a change from previous years to make it on the same day as zoning.
Yep, right.
And I know that was intended to be for the benefit of applicants. I'm not sure it's been for the benefit of the commission or the board. I feel like we've been rushed at times having to get out of here. Other times we felt the pressure of the presence of zoning to make a decision on a night when maybe we should have taken more time. So from my own personal opinion, I think we should move it up to a different day.
Say again?
I think we should move it to a different day from the same day as the zoning.
All right. Chairman of the Zoning Commission is here. Do you have a comment on that, Rod?
Well, I do, do I have standing at this meeting? I guess I do.
Sure.
I do think there have been a couple times where your meetings have run into ours, and that's unfortunate, because there are people waiting in the hallway, and I know you guys feel a sense of that. I do think the handful of times that we've had joint meetings, it's been very beneficial to both us and you to be able to watch the same presentation at the same time. But when you do that, and you need to make a recommendation, then you won't meet again for 2 weeks. So I like the setup. I actually think it was working well, but I do acknowledge what you say about the timing, so.
Perhaps we need more, to start our meetings, I don't know how we do that. At 5:30 is probably as early as everyone can make it, and 7 o'clock is as late as you want to start, but even if we had the extra
Well,
half hour.
yeah, maybe we'll just give staff a little more heads up so that we can, to the extent that you have a big agenda, then, we can start at 7:30. There's no reason we couldn't do that. To the extent you have a big agenda that doesn't overlap with us at all, that would be appropriate. To the extent that you do, I think we do a pretty good job of trying to put your agenda together so that the things we'd be interested in hearing about more than once suggests that we try to get our group here at 6:30 so that we could hear the presentation. Tonight's a good example. I was unfortunately held up, didn't get here till a little later, but gives us all a chance. That's why you see a lot of us come early, because we like to hear what's going on, and gives us a heads up. So I actually think it's a good idea to have the meetings on the same night. But I think we should just pay a little more attention to those large agendas where you guys have, so you don't feel like you're pushed out.
Yeah, I know we have on a couple occasions, and you've acknowledged that. So that's just an issue, a concern going forward.
We could just get the applicants to spread the things out and not wait till the very last minute to put them in. That would be.
Okay, we could work on
Well,
that.
the other thing that has occurred in the past is when we've had a long meeting, because there are other commissions that meet other nights
Right.
at 7. So we've moved to another room.
We can move ourselves to another room.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right.
That's not a
And
problem.
we used education upstairs a lot.
Okay.
That's a good point, John.
So I personally have found that the Monday night a benefit for both commissions. I think you will agree that you guys coming in early and watching what's going on and listening to what we say, and it's even better than getting the minutes and.
No question.
And to me, there is no question that this chair can recognize a member of the zoning commission if it's appropriate for the zoning commission to speak at this meeting. I see no reason why not. And obviously, at times, there may be the opportunity beneficial to both commissions that we meet jointly.
So be it.
So I will hear a motion on the subject of,
And so move.
I wanted to ask a question unrelated to anything we've seen. As I drive by Vincent's Sports Shop and I see they've torn out, are we expecting to see something there?
Number one, I think we were all surprised to see the porch sort of disappear. I talked to the building official the day that I noticed it, which I think was the first day it came down. He went to speak with Mr. Vincent and indicated that they would be in sometime in the very near future to show how they were going to repair and replace that overhang in front of the sports store. So my understanding is that we expect to see it. I don't have a specific date yet, but I should be very soon.
Does any, from my last life, the Department of Interior used to have a program entitled New England Storefront. And the towns like, locally, it was done in Middletown, a number of places, that somebody gives some guidance to people in terms of what might be appropriate, what might be interesting. Too often people, from my background as a commercial contractor, too often people do jobs and they use residential parts, size and proportion. And granted, that was a house once, but somebody, they're gonna come in and give you a proposal of what they're gonna do. Is there any way that we can give them guidance as to what might be interesting to us?
Sure. As soon as we get something, we'll definitely let you know what it is, and what they're proposing to do. As I said, we expect to see that very soon. We've got some really old historic pictures back in the 20s and 30s. Obviously, the front of that building was the same as it was until a few weeks ago. So I think it's sort of a historic building. There's no question about that. So we'll let you know as soon as it comes in, and hopefully we can give them some guidance and get it back to looking the way it ought to look.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, there's a proposal.
May I have a motion on the proposed meeting schedule?
Is there a second?
And a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes of October 6th, 2014. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We need to wait for seconds once in a while.
We'll have a second before the vote. How's that?
Okay.
Huh?
that's it.
I'll second.
Good for you.
And
Aye.
a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And do I hear a second?
Second.
Well,
Aye.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This belongs to